Hello, hello, Leo. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your April 2020 tarot forecast. I'll be giving you a Celtic Cross reading for all Leo individuals out there, Sun, Rising, and Moon, for the month of April 2020. See what information, insight, and advice we can gain into the month ahead. So, without further ado, we would like a Celtic Cross reading for all Leo individuals, Sun, Rising, and Moon for the month of April 2020. Let us see what we get. And there it is. For current outside influences, you got the Lovers. For the challenge card, the King of Cups reversed. For the underlying energy, the Three of Pentacles. For the past, the Seven of Wands. For what you hope to achieve, the Nine of Cups reversed. For the near future, the Devil. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. For your attitude or position on the situation, the Ace of Swords reversed. For the outside force coming in, the Fool. For your hopes or fears, the Knight of Cups. And for the final outcome card, the Queen of Wands reversed. All right, so an interesting mix we have here. Let us dive in. You're beginning the month with the Lovers card. This represents your current outside influences right around the beginning of the month of April, where we are now as I'm broadcasting this. And by the way, I started this stream as soon as the midheaven in my area went into Leo, moved into your sign of Leo. To get a good electional chart for the stream, by the way. So just have you know that little fun fact. Now, the Lovers card, you could be looking at difficult decisions or choices, especially situations that require you to make a moral decision. This is a situation where you have to make the right but not so easy decision, as opposed to the wrong but much easier decision. You have to make those tough choices, those tough calls. This card is also very often an indicator that there are two opposing forces that need to be reconciled, not necessarily fully integrated at this time, but at least reconciled. So it could be between yourself and another person, and maybe within yourself personally, that sort of thing. The Lovers card, of course, in a much more generalized, overt, obvious sense, may indeed indicate a new relationship trying to come in, trying to manifest in your life at this time. And so we have that level of excitement going on. Let me see if it ties into anything else in this reading here that we should go over now. Well, it definitely ties into one thing coming up here soon, but no, I'd say that's about it. For the challenge card, you got the King of Cups, and it did come up reversed, but let's look at that card upright. So, King of Cups being your challenge card. King of Cups, heir of water, the intellectual side of emotion. Your challenge this month is to see clearly into the emotional realms, whether in yourself or other people or both, perhaps. With this being a court card, this may also indicate an adult male water sign that poses a bit of a challenge for you this month, and that would be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So be aware of that. But digging a bit deeper, really this card talks about the need to understand the emotional realms in a sort of deep, compassionate, objective, intellectual, balanced, calm way. Think of like a therapist or counselor who is very good at what they do and just calmly and compassionately talks to a person about their issues. Well, you're being asked to sort of take on that energy this month, that helpful energy. And the last thing I'll say about that King of Cups showing up as a challenge card is just in a very generalized sense. It can talk about emotional challenges, especially with that Lovers card. If you're looking at, I think I see a larger pattern that's going on here. If you're looking at a situation where you're going to need to make a difficult choice, like the right but not easy choice to make, the King of Cups crossing over that is saying that there's a lot of emotion connected into that choice, and you don't want to let your emotions prevent you from making the choice that is right for you. Do not, I'm going to tell you right now, looking at these cards in front of me, do not give in to temptation this month. This is not a month where you want to give in to temptation. That's probably one of the most important messages of this whole reading. So for the underlying energy, everything forming a foundation for your situation this month, you got the Three of Pentacles, collaboration and cooperation, working together to build something, to construct something, to make something, teamwork, that sort of thing. So this is supporting you. So this is a very positive thing this month. There is this cooperation from one or more people to help you with a project you're working on, or help you with something. Could even be like a relationship. We see some other indicators of relationships in this reading. There's this very teamwork-like and cooperative energy underlying your month this month. So that is quite good. For the past and issues you've had to deal with that then lead to your present situation, you got the Seven of Wands, standing your ground and not giving in, having to hold a fixed position, feeling perhaps challenged on moral or intellectual grounds, perhaps. So this is showing what you have likely had to deal with recently, having to hold some kind of a fixed position where other people may be wanting you to do something else, and you're saying, no, this is what I stand for, or this is what I have to do, or this is how it is. There's a sort of oppositional energy inherent in this card. And then that connects in to what we see in the present. I'm almost tempted to say that it feels like a lot of you this month may be getting into a relationship that other people do not approve of, and it's causing a lot of friction and tension, like this overall combination of cards. Now, is that going to be 100% of you? Of course not even close. But just sort of looking at this intuitively, that's kind of the message I'm receiving right now. It may even be that there's a temptation to get into a relationship and violate the social distancing recommendations, whereas we have the Seven of Wands, social distancing, standing back from everyone. But if you have like this new person you're interested in and they're interested in you, that can certainly make it difficult to to distance yourself from that person. So I guess it's up to you. Will you make the tough but right decision? It's all up to you. Unless you believe we don't have free will, then I guess it's not up to you. But regardless, that is what we have. I think we have free will. I don't know. I hope so. I'm pretty sure. Probably about a 70% chance, probably 60, 70% chance. Maybe 80%. I don't know. For what you hope to achieve this month, you got the 9 of Cups reversed. This is like your highest hope, your highest goal. So this is interesting. Speaking of like trying to see a potential lover, we'll just look at that element of it first. This could manifest, with it being a 9, as a desire to overcome a blockage to travel and movement, especially long distance travel. But in this context, perhaps it doesn't have to be long distance travel. So in another sense, though, especially in a more generalized sense, this 9 of Cups reverse could be like you're hoping to overcome a blockage to just feeling satisfaction and contentment, perhaps with what you've achieved or accomplished, or let me think how to put this. If we look at this idea of how we're all sort of all but forced to practice this social distancing right now, it's like there's this desire in many of you, it would appear this month, to be social, to get together with other people. Like maybe you want to party or you just want to hang out with people, but you know that you can't do that or you're not supposed to do that. And thus we have the 9 of Cups in its reversal, because the 9 of Cups upright is like that party or that delicious social get together, that contentment and satisfaction. So the reversal is showing the difficulty in that. Now, here's where things get really fun. The near future, you got the Devil. This represents the first week or 2 of your month of April. So, first of all, for those of you who, as I mentioned earlier, may be tempted into a new relationship, like maybe there's a new potential lover entering into your life, this card is basically saying, be careful what you choose, because many of you at this time are likely to, how do I put this? To make the choice that is easier, that gives you instant gratification, but is not ultimately for the best for you in the long run. And so be very careful with that. And if not that, then just entering into a situation where you're going to feel chained or trapped. It's going to be unhealthy. It's going to be toxic. It's not going to be good for you in this way. This could also be saying, though, that many of you are going to be very tempted to violate the social distancing guidelines and spend time with one or more other people in close proximity when you know that really you shouldn't. And of course, I would advise against that. But I guess if you got your mind made up to do that, I guess I can't stop you. In a more generalized sense, of course, the Devil card can talk about, someone that you're going to end up in a fight with, an argument with, someone making trouble for you, that sort of thing. Difficult people, difficult situations. But I really, really think that it's connecting for the vast majority of you into that Lovers card. I mean, the figures of the lovers are even in this card. And so those 2 cards have a very special connection in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that we are using. So again, I think the main message here, especially in that first week or 2, is really, 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 you do not want to give in to temptation this month. When temptation comes for you, don't give into it. It may be satisfying in the short term, but it's ultimately going to net you more pain than pleasure in the long term. And so if you don't want more pain, if you would rather feel good and not bad, then make the right choice, which is probably to stay away from whoever this is. Or even if it's a new relationship and you think that this is a good person for you, then at least keep it as like one where you're not meeting in person yet, or if you have to meet in person, then stay far apart somehow. All right. So for your attitude or position in the situation, about halfway through the month, you have the Ace of Swords reversed. So I'm not going to lie, this could be a bit tricky because Ace of Swords reversed, you may not be thinking clearly. I hate to tell you, but you may not be thinking clearly. And you may think that, like the upright meaning of this card, you have made a great discovery or breakthrough or whatever. But really, this is not a good discovery. It is not a good breakthrough, or it's not that at all. And you really, really need to be careful that you're seeing things clearly, seeing things for what they are. And that goes for everyone, by the way, regardless of your situation, this card showing up. This is not a month where you want to think with your emotions. This is not a month where you want to indulge in magical thinking. This is a month where you want to try to see things for what they are as much as possible. Now, for the outside force coming in, you got the Fool. Connecting in with our general theme here, our general theory here. Again, this could represent in a negative sense. We'll look at that first for a change. Someone who is not good for you, a situation that is crazy, that is filled with too many unknowns. This card's Uranian rulership. Too many unknowns, too many potential surprises, and not the good kind. However, in a positive sense, perhaps for some of you, this Fool card here is manifesting as a new situation, a new adventure. But again, it's just like, I have to warn you, or I feel like I have to warn you, this is not a time where you want to be going out on a literal, physical new adventure, which the Fool card talks about. So again, this may be temptation to go out on such an adventure. This is not the time you want to do that. But if you go out on a, say, virtual adventure, I know perhaps that sounds lame to a number of you, but that would be the safe call right now. So that is what we have. For your hopes or fears, as if to back up further our overall theme here, you got the Knight of Cups. So, hoping for that knight in shining armor, so many of you. Hoping for that lover, hoping for that forthcoming romance. And again, I have to say, the cards are saying, do not give in to temptation this month and make sure that you're thinking clearly. However, for others of you who are not interested in a relationship right now, or maybe you already have a relationship or whatever, of course, Knight of Cups, a very creative energy. Knight of Cups, if we want to look at it deeper, it is, at times at least, an indicator of, how do I put this, the need to remove oneself from emotional entanglements. And so there is this concern, it appears, in quite a few of you, about the emotional entanglements that you may be getting involved in this month. And I would say that's a concern, a fear, for a good reason. You're hoping that if this does manifest as a person, that this is the person that you've been waiting for, or is like that amazing forthcoming romance or whatever, but you're also in fear of unhealthy emotional entanglements, and for good reason. And isn't it interesting that we, of course, had that King of Cups card earlier showing up for your challenge card? So to say, beware these emotional connections or emotional pressures that may not be so good for you. All right, so before I get to your outcome card, I'm going to draw one more card for you to get a better idea of what this card is getting at. And boy, oh boy, it is the Tower. Okay, that clarifies some things. All right, so let me explain all this. Your final outcome card is the Queen of Wands reversed. So I'm not going to lie, this is showing a likely tendency to not have the courage to do what needs to be done. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what the cards are saying. if you sort of shrink back in fear and give in to temptation or give in to this emotional pressure, or maybe the pressure that someone else is putting on you, it will likely result in disaster, collapse, craziness, insanity, upheaval, ruin, destruction. So please, dear Leos of the world out there, heed my warning. Do not give in to temptation this month. Do not be deceived this month. Do not give in to short-term satisfaction that you know is really bad for you in the long run this month. Instead, try to be more like the Queen of Wands upright, which could very well represent you, Leo, as a fire sign, especially if you're a female or just a very feminine person, with this being the Queen of Wands, representing usually an adult female fire sign. Be like the Queen of Wands upright, courageous, resolute, filled with inspiration and sort of intuitively knowing what to do, knowing how to make the right decisions, as opposed to sort of shrinking back in fear. So yeah, and then of course we just have the Tower, which I just went over. It says basically, if you're not careful this month, if you take the easy way out, it's going to result in disaster. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's just how it is. Now, the good news is now you've been warned. You can heed my warning and you can make the right but more difficult decision, and you can completely, hopefully at least, head off that disaster. So that's the good news, is it's not too late. Not too late to save yourself. So, all right, Leo, that is the end of our rather dramatic reading for you. Wow, that was something, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that despite some of the craziness this month, you do have a magnificent and enjoyable month indeed. If you enjoyed this reading, feel free to like and subscribe if you're not already, as I'm always streaming more astrology and tarot related content to this channel, as well as some other bits and pieces of like kind of occult stuff on the side. If you would like a personal reading with me, I go live every Friday now at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I was just doing it earlier from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. doing live tarot readings on a pay what you want basis. You can come by and donate any amount of money, or well, as little as $1. And I'll be happy to give you a tarot reading on any question of your choice, as long as it is an ethical one. So YouTube for a little bit recently was not showing my streams to everyone who subscribed to me. So I was a little concerned about that. Now today that is improved. It seems like the problem's been fixed. But if ever you don't see that pop up on a Friday, you might have to go to my actual channel, just so you know. So if you ever want to know for sure whether I'm streaming or not, go to my actual channel rather than anything else. So, all right. That's it, Leo. Thanks so much for watching. And again, I hope you have a great month, and don't give in to any wretched temptation. Also, hello there, Jack Cat. You're arriving right at the end. I'm sorry, but this will be up on my channel as soon as I end the stream, so you can rewatch it and watch what you missed. The basic gist of the reading, though, is do not, whatever you do not give in to temptation this month. All right, so thanks so much, and have a great night.